Okay, employees don't want to work. They're afraid to come to work. I have employees, I mean, they all have legitimate excuses too. They have asthma, their baby just had a heart operation, their parents live with them, they're in their 80s and they're all having health issues. They're actually afraid to come out and work for family. I have one or two guys that are young, and I have one guy out of 11 of us that's actually just doing emergency service work. He's young, it doesn't bother him. But how do you get people to work? You're not allowed to force them to work. I wouldn't want to force them to work either, because if something would happen to them, I would not be able to have that on my conscience. What do you do?
I can jump on that one first. I agree with what you said to the premise that you don't want to force them to. We do have a responsibility for our customers, our employees, and if they have legitimate situations going on, what do? You're a little bit in the crosshairs, aren't you? One of the things that I have found is that there are a lot of people out there willing to work who have been laid off or sent home. I hired two of them yesterday, great technicians from a competitor here in town who I happen to know is one of the best technical guys, and he trains his guys. I mean, just trains the dickens out of them technically. They are sharp young technicians. But when this all happened, he just kind of took the tact, hey, we're just going to sit back, and these kids haven't worked in a month, over a month. And so I started putting some posts out on Facebook and some other, ways to get it out there. And I'm telling you, I've had no less than 20 phone calls from guys who want to work who are at home. And so it's a good opportunity to say, hey, I understand, Joe, you can't work, but I need that van. I got to bring somebody to put that guy in the van. And then, you want Joe to come back to work too, because he's probably a good guy. It's a great opportunity for expansion. We ordered 5 new trucks this week. I'm hiring guys left and right everywhere I can, because number one, we're seeing things get a little busier, and number two, I know it's going to be busy eventually. This isn't going to last forever. It might last. It might be 6 months. I don't know, but at some point, it's going to be over. And as a new company, I opened my company less than a year ago. It's kind of hard to attract good top-notch guys because they have security where they are. And, we're not a safe bet yet. We've only been around for a year. We know how many companies open up and close down. And so guys don't want to make the jump because what if we don't make it, and et cetera, et cetera. Well, guess what? There's a new set of rules out there right now. We got guys that were working for great companies, have been there for many, many years, that are at home. Now, in some of those cases, you have people that apparently, from what I've heard, in some cases, making more unemployment than they were making at work. And some people are taking advantage of that. Well, that's a character issue. But you're talking about legitimate reasons for people not working. God bless them, but say, hey, I got to have the van, and I got a guy who's willing to work. Now, when you come back, we'll get you a new van. We'll do whatever we got to do. I'm not saying terminate them, but by golly, there's people out there right now dying to work. Just jump on your Facebook accounts and say, hey, guys, I got calls out the wazoo. I need some good help. I got a lot of my guys sick. It's a great time to come to work for a great company. Get them in there, and then when your other guys come back to work, you figure that out right then. But in the meantime, there's a lot of people out there willing to work. Gary and Drew, I don't know if you have just a little bit of comment on that real quick.
Yeah, I agree with you, Wally. I do think that the caller here, you can't force people to do something that's against their belief system. I think you would be crossing a boundary of ethics there and morals, and you don't sound like that type of individual. So, and they're legitimate reasons, so you gotta let them do what they're gonna do. So to Wally's point, you fill that van, or you fill the installation team with people who do want to work. I would also just maybe add one other comment. The basis of the PPP was to be able to support a company that had that particular problem, or had people get sick, people that wanted to work that actually got sick. So you can, hopefully you get yours, and that payroll can be used. I would challenge them, if they're not working, what are they doing to earn the paycheck? What's the training plan? What's their improvement plan? What have they done? What have we done to set goals to improve their skill sets technically, customer relationship wise, et cetera? So, obviously EGIA has that platform, but there's other stuff out there. So it's not, hey, we're going to pay you and you get to sit at home and do nothing. I think what you want to do is you want to force that issue and say, if in fact you really do have an issue, and that's real, I respect that, but you got to get better. So when you come back, you're a better person, a better employee, and a better teammate. If that's not happening, then I think you've answered the question. If you hire, John from ABC Heating and Cooling in Wally's world, and John came to work for you, and the other individual didn't do what they were supposed to do, I think they've made the bed in life to say that, they didn't improve, they didn't do what they were asked to do based on that. So Wally, in my world, it's a meritocracy, and meritocracy doesn't care about COVID-19. So if I ask you to get better at customer relationships, and I ask you to learn some skills that you didn't have, and I'm paying you for that, and you don't do that, the meritocracy is not going to reward you. You're not coming back. So that might sound harsh, but the reality is, again, why did they make that choice? If you keep me at home, I'm going to be learning a new skill set, whatever that is. It's your responsibility as the owner of the company or a manager to coach them and lead them through that process. What do they need to be better at? What skills do you want them to get better at? So I wouldn't rely on the employee or the teammate to figure that out. I think that's where you sit down with them and say, well, what can we do for you to actually earn this and become better when you come back? Because this will have its course, and obviously when the employee comes back to you, you want them to be that much better. So Drew, I'm sure you probably have some comments.
Yeah, just a couple real quick. I mean, we've talked about this so many times over the last couple of weeks, and again, just coming from a place of leadership, we have to realize that we serve at the pleasure of the customer, and when the customer needs us, that's when we have to to be ready to go. And like both of these gentlemen have said, we have an opportunity to serve. Customers are calling us; they're asking us to come out to their house. They have a need. To some extent, if you really think about it, we're I don't want to put us above or below anybody else or say somebody else is less important, but to some extent, you got to think of yourself almost as a first responder. If the heating and cooling and air filtration system in this home does not work and these people are living there, that is a hazardous situation. And so I wouldn't go out and necessarily tell my people, but don't tell me why we can't. Tell me how we can. Let's get into a room and say, guys, what do we have to do to make you feel comfortable enough to go out and serve the customers who need us, who provide us job security, who have taken care of us? Our community has funded us for years and given us this opportunity to serve. And now all of a sudden, when they need us most, we're not going to show up. And Weldon said it a little bit ago. I mean, if I got to guilt and shame some people a little bit to motivate them and say, hey, we chose this job, we chose this industry to serve, it's asking for us to step up. And like what both these guys said, and if I can't get you guys to step up, then I've got to find people who are willing to step up. And I hope when this all clears, the smoke all clears, that I can bring everybody back. But the people that have stepped up and shown value and have taken leadership and are serving our customers during this time frame are going to be the ones that that I know I can count on to go into battle, not only in battle, but in peace. And so you got to do what you got to do to serve, and just step up and be that leader and communicate with your team and ask them, how can we?